Welcome you to the deep dive, where we plunge into complex ideas and distill them into essential insights. Today, we're taking a deep dive into a powerful, pretty unsettling classic, William Golding's Lord of the Flies.
A book that really sticks with you, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to journey with this group of British schoolboys, strangers stranded on an uninhabited island, and we'll witness their swift, frankly terrifying descent from, well, civility into something much more primal, savagery, really.
Mm-hmm.
This deep dive, we're going to try and unravel how order just disintegrates when you strip away all those societal structures we take for granted. We'll focus on the key characters, those unforgettable kids, the potent symbols that really define their struggle, and yeah, the chilling truth Golding unearths about human nature.
It's quite the unearthing.
Right. We'll navigate the narrative chronologically, trying to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, the key insights, directly from the book itself. So, if you've ever wondered about that thin veneer of civilization, what truly lies beneath, well, prepare yourself. It's an eye-opening and maybe unsettling exploration.
What's really fascinating about Lord of the Flies, I think, is how Golding sets up this isolated setting. It's like a crucible, isn't it?
Exactly. A test tube.
Yeah. It lets him strip away all the pretense of adult society, all the rules, and examine these really fundamental questions about leadership, about fear, the corrosive nature of fear, actually. And, that inherent darkness or maybe even those little glimmers of light within us all. Our aim isn't just to recount what happens, though we'll do that too, but to really understand why these events unfold the way they do.
Yeah, the psychology behind it.
Right, and how they resonate with, broader human experiences, maybe even historical patterns. It's got layers.
Definitely layers. Okay, let's cast ourselves back to the very beginning, chapter 1, The Sound of the Shell. And it's an incredibly dramatic opening, isn't it? Golding doesn't ease us in.
No gentle intro here.
Not at all. He just thrusts us right into it with this really violent image, the scar, the mark left by the crashing plane. It's like this raw wound on an otherwise, pristine, lush tropical island. It's an immediate violation of paradise.
And that juxtaposition is just crucial right from the start.
Yeah.
You have this almost Edenic landscape. He describes the serene lagoon, the milk blue water, these vivid images of palm trees and red and yellow creepers. It creates this sense of natural beauty, abundance.
Paradise found?
Almost. But that scar is always there.
Yeah.
It's this persistent, ugly reminder of the violence from the outside world, the war that brought them there. And maybe it's also a bit of haunting foreshadowing of the internal violence that's going to unfold.
Good point. It's the striking contrast between paradise and destruction right there on page 1. It sort of implies that even the most beautiful places can be corrupted.
Easily corrupted, perhaps.
And out of this initial chaos, two really foundational figures emerge almost immediately. First, we meet Ralph. He's the fair boy. And he's depicted with this almost naive delight of a realized ambition. He's practically gleeful, shedding his school uniform, just reveling in the bath of heat, the freedom of it all.
Like a holiday, almost.
Kind of. He's smiling even. Golding writes, grinned at the reversed fat boy, who is, of course, Piggy. There's this undeniable exuberance about Ralph. He seems ready for adventure, but maybe, a bit naive about what they're actually facing.
And then, in such stark contrast, there's Piggy.
Yes, Piggy.
Physically, he's the fat boy, got those thick spectacles, suffers from asthma. And right away, his voice is described as one that complained.
Not the most heroic introduction.
Yeah. But his very first questions are so practical. Remarkably adult-like, actually. Where's the man with the megaphone? He's immediately asking about grown-ups, about the plane. He's trying to ground them in reality.
Well, Ralph's just enjoying the sun.
Exactly. Piggy embodies that intellectual curiosity, a grounding in logic, and this deep-seated desire for order.
Yeah.
But you also see his immediate vulnerability, that chivied feeling Golding mentions.
Yeah.
Ralph kind of laughs at his discomfort right away, which sets this dangerous precedent, doesn't it? How intellect is maybe undervalued, even mocked from the start.
It's true. Piggy's asking the sensible, the foundational questions, the what do we do now questions, while Ralph is still sort of basking in the glow of this unexpected freedom. And it's Piggy, the intellectual one, who recognizes the value of their next big discovery.
The conch.
The conch, that great cream shell. It's described with this delicate, embossed pattern, almost pristine. Ralph blows it with Piggy's instruction, importantly. And its sound, this powerful sound, draws all the boys together to this assembly point.
And Piggy immediately gets it. He says it's valuable for calling the others.
Yeah.
He sees its function straight away.
So the shell, the conch, it instantly becomes more than just, a pretty shell. It transforms into this potent symbol.
Of order.
Yeah, of order, communication, maybe even a kind of nascent democracy.
What's really compelling there is how quickly, how collectively they recognize the conch power. It's not imposed by an adult, right?
No, they find it.
It's discovered.
Yeah.
And its function is articulated by Piggy's intellect. And that leads, pretty organically, to their first assembly. The initial enthusiasm of the boys who gather, it's palpable. You feel this collective desire for some kind of structure, for leadership.
They need a leader.
And Ralph gets elected chief. Partly, maybe largely, because he's the one holding the conch. It feels like a democratic choice.
Kind of.
Kind of. But we immediately get that early, slightly chilling glimpse of dissent and maybe authoritarian tendencies from Jack.
The dark boy.
The dark boy, yeah. He flat out declares, I ought to be chief.
Right. The entitlement is there.
It is. The compromise they reach, letting Jack lead the choir as hunters, it feels like a temporary truce. A fragile peace that subtly reveals the seeds of future conflict. It's that first, almost tiny crack in their new society.
And that crack, that subtle fissure, it starts to widen pretty quickly. After the election, Ralph, Jack, and interestingly Simon, they embark on their first exploration.
Simon goes along.
Yes. They discover the island was a mountain, find a deep cave. There's this real sense of enchantment, boyish delight in this wild, unexplored territory.
Adventure time.
Totally. But it's during this trip that Jack has his first real, raw encounter with the idea of killing.
The piglet.
The piglet, caught in the thicket. Golding describes how Jack's knife was in his hand, but he couldn't bring himself to sting it. He hesitates.
He can't do it.
He can't. The bloodlust isn't fully formed yet. It's actually a really profound moment of preserved innocence, isn't it? But a very fragile one.
Very fragile.
It shows how deeply ingrained those societal taboos against violence are, at least, initially.
That early hesitation from Jack is so significant because it immediately pushes back against any idea that savagery is just instantly innate for all of them, or that it's unleashed right away.
Right. It's a process.
It highlights that the descent into brutality is gradual. It's insidious. It's not an immediate switch. The act of killing, even just an animal, still carries a moral weight for him at this point. Which takes us straight into Chapter 2, Fire on the Mountain. And here, Ralph's priorities shift again, contrasting sharply with Jack's emerging desires.
Yes, Ralph's focus becomes laser sharp now. They need to be found. Rescue is paramount. He immediately declares, we must make smoke on top of the mountain. We must make a fire.
The signal fire.
Exactly. This clearly shows his leadership style, his vision, and it contrasts directly with Jack's growing desire to hunt. It's a fundamental split right there.
Yeah, their philosophies for survival are already diverging. Ralph wants to return to the known world, to rescue the safety of civilization.
Well, Jack's
increasingly drawn to the primal side of things, the allure of the wild, the thrill of the chase.
And this is where Piggy's intellect becomes absolutely crucial again.
The glasses.
The glasses. In this moment of, urgent necessity, it's Piggy's specs that become the literal tool for ignition they're used to start the fire.
It's such a powerful symbolic moment. Intellect, foresight, technology, they're the key to harnessing nature for human benefit. But this crucial act immediately highlights their collective lack of foresight and discipline. The flame proves really difficult to control.
It gets away from them.
Totally. The boys, in their chaotic, impulsive efforts, they create a fire that ran as though it were alive. It spirals out of control, resulting in this thunderous plume of spray and a whole patch of destroyed landscapes.
Gross.
Yeah. This uncontrolled destructive fire, it immediately foreshadows their wider lack of discipline, doesn't it? And the destructive potential of just unchecked enthusiasm and primal urges.
It really does. It's like a literal and metaphorical inferno of their inexperience, their burgeoning chaos. Yeah. And almost immediately after this disaster, a new fear emerges. More abstract, maybe, but profoundly terrifying.
The beastie.
The beastie, or snake thing. It's introduced by that small boy with the mulberry-colored birthmark. His terrified description just ignites panic, this irrational fear, especially among the younger boys, the little ones.
And Ralph and Jack try to shut it down.
They do. They initially dismiss it, try to reassure everyone with logic, there's no snake thing. But the seed of fear, it's been planted.
Yeah.
Deeply, and it starts to take root. subtly undermining their sense of security.
This really brings up an important question, I think.
Yeah.
In this kind of isolated environment, how quickly does that facade of order start to crack, especially under pressure from primitive desires and these irrational fears?
Yeah.
This growing fear of the beastie, combined with their inability to control their fire, their environment, even themselves, it really starts to dismantle those initial hopes for a functional society.
And Ralph, he's still desperately clinging to the remnants of civilization, isn't he? He asserts, we'll have rules, lots of rules.
Listen.
And he expresses this unwavering belief in getting rescued. But Jack hits back with that stark, unsettling counterpoint, grounding them in the harsh reality.
Right. He says, we're on an island. We've been on the mountaintop and seen water all around. We saw no houses, no smoke, no footprints, no boats, no people. Basically, get real, Ralph.
Exactly. The growing tension between their fundamental priorities, Ralph's long-term vision for rescue and order versus Jack's focus on immediate survival, hunting, that primal gratification it's now firmly established, it really sets the stage for everything that follows.
Everything.
Okay, let's move into segment 2. The cracks are forming. Now they start to deepen.
Yeah, chapters 3 to 5. Huts, the hunt, and hope starts to fade.
Starting with chapter 3, Huts on the Beach. That tension we just talked about, it just escalates. It becomes this tangible wedge between the boys. Ralph, ever the pragmatist, he's desperate to build something. Some semblance of permanence, of safety. He's struggling almost alone trying to build shelters.
Proper shelters?
Yeah, proper shelters. He's committed to these practical necessities, basic housing. But the other boys, their enthusiasm for actual work is fleeting.
To say the least.
His frustration is so clear, he watches them off bathing or eating or playing. He's not just thinking about immediate survival. He wants to provide comfort, security for the Lillans. It shows his leadership is still valuing the collective good, a more civilized way of living.
What's truly fascinating and ultimately tragic in this chapter is that direct contrast Golding draws between Ralph's efforts, his building,
And Jack's obsession.
and Jack's burgeoning obsession. While Ralph is toiling away with the painstaking work of civilization, Jack is just consumed by this singular, increasingly primal drive, hunting. Golding's description of his transformation is masterful. Subtle maybe, but profound. Jack moving through the jungle, crouching, peering, becoming less a hunter, more a furtive thing.
Almost animalistic.
Exactly. His movements become animal-like, his senses heighten, he's literally sniffing the air. He's not just looking for food anymore, he's yielding to this instinctual drive, this growing bloodlust that's starting to define him. It's overshadowing everything else.
And this fundamental difference, of course, creates this massive, seemingly irreparable divide between Ralph and Jack. Their disagreement on priorities is just laid bare in their arguments. Ralph emphasizes, we want meat, okay? He acknowledges the need for food, but immediately pivots. But we need shelters.
Shelters first.
For Ralph, yes. But Jack, he has this singular, almost aggressive response. What about the meat? It's like they're speaking different languages.
Totally different languages. It's not just about tasks anymore. It's a complete breakdown of communication, of mutual understanding. The gap between them is just widening constantly. It's like a microcosm of societies fracturing over different values, different visions.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, you're really seeing the foundations of their society starting to erode. It's not just about what they do, but the diverging values separating them. You know, the collective good, foresight, long-term planning, that's Ralph. Versus individual primal drive, immediate gratification, the thrill of the moment, that's Jack. It's also in this chapter we get a deeper look at Simon, his solitary nature.
Right, Simon.
He quietly helps Ralph with the shelters like this silent support. But then he often disappears, doesn't he? Into his secret place in the creeper-filled jungle, described as a coarse, well-covered space.
This little sanctuary.
Yeah. It hints at his unique contemplative nature. His ability to be alone with his thoughts, to connect with the island, maybe on a deeper, more intuitive level. It really sets him apart from the growing factions and their escalating fights.
That distinction, that quiet difference in Simon, it really carries forward into chapter 4, painted faces and long hair. This is where Jack's transformation takes a really dramatic turn, visually and psychologically.
The mask.
The mask. He starts using clay and charcoal to smear his face with an awesome mask. And the effect is immediate, profound. Golding says it liberated him from shame and self-consciousness.
It's anonymity.
Exactly. The mask isn't just paint. It's this huge psychological shift. His whole demeanor changes. His voice shifts. It allows him to fully embrace this more primal, unchecked identity. He's not Jack Meridew, choir boy anymore. He's an anonymous, fearless hunter. It's a shocking moment of, like, self-reinvention.
And that transformation, it directly enables the next horrifying step. The first successful pig hunt.
Finally gets his pig.
He does. And the description Golding gives is so raw, so visceral. There's the exhilaration of the hunt, the gash of the pig's death, and then that chilling, triumphant chant.
Oh, the chant. Kill the pig. Cut her throat. Spill her blood.
It's terrifying. This isn't just about getting food anymore. It's about the feeling of bloodlust taking over. It's a shared, intoxicating frenzy that binds them together in this new, darker way, creating this powerful group identity based on violence, on primal instinct.
But the devastating consequence of Jack's obsession, of this primal triumph, it's almost immediate and catastrophic.
A mess ship.
The missed ship. Because Jack and his hunters abandon the signal fire, their only link to rescue it goes out.
Unbelievable.
And a passing ship, this fleeting symbol of hope, just sails by, unnoticed. Ralph's reaction is just absolute fury, a sick, frantic realization. The dream of rescue, his primary goal, shattered by Jack's single-minded, self-gratifying hunt.
It's the moment the cost of their regression becomes absolutely undeniable, isn't it?
Totally.
And it's right after this, in the immediate aftermath of this profound failure, fueled by raw frustration, maybe a desperate need to assert dominance, that Piggy's vulnerability is brutally exposed.
Oh, yeah.
Jack, in this violent, unprovoked outburst, hits Piggy and breaks one lens of his specs.
Just lashes out.
Completely. And it isn't just physical assault. It's so symbolic. It's an attack on intellect, on reason, on everything Piggy represents. Piggy is left literally blind in one eye, and metaphorically, too. His crying has that indignant quality, that righteous anger at the injustice. The broken glasses, as you said earlier, they're so much more than just broken glass. They're a literal and metaphorical shattering of reason, of clear-sightedness within their little society.
That moment, yeah, where the mask frees Jack and the glasses break. It just underlines that psychological shift perfectly. Jack sheds his old self, embraces the primal, while simultaneously damaging the very symbol of rational thought. This declined morale, this growing fear, it leads us straight into Chapter 5, Beast from Water.
And the signs of decay are becoming really undeniable by this point, not just in their behavior, but in their physical state, too.
They're letting themselves go.
Completely.
Yeah.
Ralph's declining morale is obvious. He notices how the boys are deteriorating, they're filthy, hair's getting long, knees are naked and crusted with dirt. And he sees it in himself, too, mirroring the group's broader descent. There's just this pervasive sense of things falling apart, a loss of control that really weighs on him. It signifies a deeper societal unraveling.
And he tries desperately to stem the tide. He calls another assembly to address the pervasive fear, especially among the littlins.
The nightmares.
Yeah, the small boys' nightmares, their superstitions, creeper things, ghosts. It's palpable, this constant low-level hum of anxiety. One of the most heartbreaking moments, I think, is when Percival, one of the youngest, tries to say what the beast is, but he can't remember his own name and address anymore.
Oh, that's chilling.
Isn't it? The very identifiers of his civilized past are just fading. It's a horrifying symbol of how quickly civilization is slipping away from them.
But amidst this rising tide of fear and superstition, Simon offers this profound, unsettling truth.
He tries.
He tries. After recovering from fainting, he offers his unique insight, a truth the others just struggle to grasp. He says, maybe there is a beast. Maybe it's only us.
Wow.
He suggests the beast isn't external. It's not some monster out there. It's internal. It's mankind's essential illness.
That's the core of it.
That's the philosophical core of Golding's message, articulated right there. The true evil lies within human nature itself. But tragically, it just falls on deaf ears. The boys aren't ready, maybe not capable, of confronting that abstract internal evil.
Exactly. And because they can't grasp Simon's truth, Ralph's struggle to maintain order becomes increasingly desperate. It's almost Sisyphean, pushing that rock uphill. The conch, once so powerful, the symbol of authority, of democratic process, it starts to lose its power. Boys talk out of turn, they openly ignore Ralph.
Chaos takes over.
Yeah, the meeting descends into chaos, just a cacophony of fear and disorder. It shows how quickly democratic structures can crumble without respect, without adherence. Ralph himself feels this deep weariness, this fatigue born of trying to hold together a group that's just fracturing under the weight of its own primal urges.
This makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a situation completely devoid of external authority, how fast does primitive superstitious fear take root?
Scarily fast.
And how does that inability to confront abstract concepts like Simon's essential illness, how does that pave the way for real-world terror, for manipulation?
Yeah.
Because the fear of the unknown becomes this powerful tool, right, for those seeking power.
Yeah.
It ultimately enables the rise of savagery by offering a tangible enemy to rally against, even if that enemy actually resides within.
That fear becomes the engine.
Yeah.
In segment 3, the beast starts to manifest and savagery really takes hold.
Chapters 6 to 8. This is where things get significantly darker.
Starting with chapter 6, Beast from Air. And this chapter kicks off with this dark irony. The boys desperately hope for a sign from the grown-ups, a signal of rescue.
But it's not what they think.
Not even close. It's the dead body of a parachutist fallen from an aerial battle that lands on the mountain.
Gruesome.
Right. Sam Narek, on fire duty, discover it in the dark. And terrified, they interpret it as this horrifying beast from air. They describe it with a bulging body, long hair, slinking, humped, looming movement.
Which is just the wind in the parachute.
Exactly, the
Yeah.
wind catching the lines. Their fear transforms this inanimate, tragic figure into something monstrous, something alive.
And what's fascinating there is just the immediate, almost primal reaction to the unknown. They project their deepest, most irrational fears onto this external object.
Making the abstract beastie real.
Exactly. It becomes tangible, terrifying, and this externalized fear then becomes the justification for savagery.
And Jack jumps on it.
Oh, Jack seizes on it immediately, ever the opportunist. He becomes tremulously excited about hunting this beast. Ralph, despite his own profound fear, feels compelled to join. He knows he has to maintain his leadership by facing this perceived threat.
Gotta show he's brave.
Right. Their expedition takes them to that rocky outcrop, which later gets called Castle Rock, a naturally defensible fort that will ominously become Jack's stronghold.
And as they search for this beast, the division between Jack and Ralph just gets starker, more overt.
No more pretending.
No. Jack increasingly challenges Ralph's authority, openly asserting, we don't need the conch anymore. We know who ought to say things.
Undermining democracy right there.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's actively dismantling the process. And he appeals directly to the boys' baser desires, the thrill of adventure, the power of hunting over Ralph's insistence on rules, responsibility, that critical signal fire. He's cleverly undermining Ralph, drawing boys away with promises of excitement, freedom from rules.
Which leads us into Chapter 7, Shadows and Tall Trees. And here, Ralph's longing for civilization becomes really acute, painful almost, personal.
He's really feeling it now.
Yeah, he's deeply aware of his own deteriorating state. His hair was long, he's crusted with dry dirt, scratched, sticky. He aches for simple comforts, a bath, a toothbrush, clean clothes.
The basics.
The basics, his memory of childhood comfort, his tidy room, ponies. It's such a stark, poignant contrast to the savage conditions on the island. He's literally and metaphorically losing himself in this wildness.
And this is where those lines between play and primal instinct get really blurry, chillingly so.
The mock hunt.
The mock hunt. During a pig hunt, the boys surround Robert, acting out the kill. It starts as a game, but escalates fast. Robert gets genuinely hurt. The excitement of the chase is palpable. It's intoxicating, the shared delirium.
And even Ralph.
Even Ralph, that's what's so unsettling. Ralph, the symbol of order, of reason, gets caught up in the bloodlust. He's hitting him with the butt of his spear.
Losing control.
Yeah. And then comes that chilling suggestion, almost casual. You want a real pig? You want a real pig to knock over?
It's terrifying to see Ralph momentarily succumb to that urge. It shows the beast isn't just in Jack's tribe, it's a potential sleeping in everyone.
That moment is profoundly disturbing, precisely because it shows how insidious, how pervasive the beast is. It's not exclusive to the savage characters.
Yeah.
The allure of primal violence, the thrill of the chase, the intoxicating power of the group. It's a universal human capacity, Golding seems to say. Despite this really unsettling experience, Ralph insists on going up the mountain, facing the beast. It's a flicker of his true, courageous leadership.
He has to know.
Right. Jack, Ralph, and Roger climb. And their terror when they see the silhouette of the dead parachutist swaying in the wind, which they perceive as a great ape or something like a humped thing, it solidifies the external manifestation of their internal fears. It becomes this powerful, unifying lie.
Which brings us to Chapter 8, Gift for the Darkness. And this is pretty much the point of no return for Jack, the
Yeah.
final decisive split.
He tries to impeach Ralph as chief, right? But when he fails to get full support, he dramatically declares, I'm not going to play any longer. Not with you.
Takes his ball and goes home.
Yeah.
Metaphorically.
Exactly. He leaves, definitively, to form his own tribe. It marks the ultimate irreversible split. The fragile veneer of unified society is just completely shattered, replaced by outright factionalism.
And Jack's new tribe immediately engages in a truly brutal pig hunt. This isn't just about survival anymore. Not at all.
No, this is different.
This is about ritual, about power, the sheer exhilaration of violence, the description of the savage, detailed hunt of the sow. It's horrifyingly graphic, highlighting the guts, the blood, this almost sexual frenzy in the kill.
And Roger.
Roger's role particularly becomes increasingly sadistic here. He speared the sow's backside with his unnecessary cruelty. It's an act of pure, unadulterated brutality far beyond necessity, reveling in the violence itself, marking their irreversible descent.
And out of this grotesque act, the chilling Lord of the Flies is literally born.
A pig's head on a stick.
Yeah. The sow's head, dismembered, grotesque, speared on a stick, offered as a gift for the darkness. Attracting that buzzing swarm of flies, it becomes the physical, symbolic Lord of the Flies, a literal representation of inherent evil, a grotesque idol embodying the island's escalating savagery. The boys' deepest fears made manifest, a focal point for their regression.
And it is Simon, again, the mystic, the truth-teller, the one who truly sees, who confronts this embodiment of evil.
He finds it.
He does. Having retreated to a secret spot, he's terrified but compelled, drawn to the savage, insistent voice he perceives coming from the pig's head. The Lord of the Flies speaks to Simon, chillingly saying, I'm the beast you knew, didn't you? I'm part of you.
Oh, wow. Direct confirmation.
Direct confirmation of Simon's earlier insight. The beast isn't external, not some monster on the island. It's mankind's essential illness. It's an internal force within them all, a capacity for evil.
And Simon faints.
Simon faints after this revelation, signifying the profound impact of this terrifying understanding. A truth may be too immense to bear alone. And this raises another crucial question for us, doesn't it? What happens when that externalized fear of a beast becomes the very justification for internal savagery?
Right.
The gift for the darkness isn't really about appeasing some monster. It's more about solidifying Jack's reign over the boy's primal, unacknowledged urges. It's like a dark pact with the very darkness inside themselves.
Oh, truly dark chapter. Okay, segment 4, the final descent, and then a glimmer of rescue.
Chapters 9 to 12, the endgame. And yes, it gets even darker before any glimmer appears.
As we enter Chapter 9, A View to a Death, we're approaching what is arguably the novel's darkest, most tragic turning point.
Simon's fate.
Yeah. Simon, after recovering from his faint, that terrifying confrontation, he courageously climbs the mountain again.
He has to know for sure.
He does. And he discovers the dead parachutist, finally understanding the true nature of the beast from air. It's just a dead man, harmless, a victim of the adult world's own conflicts. His intention is to bring this clarifying truth back to the others, to liberate them from their fear, their superstition, to give them knowledge.
The irony and tragedy here are just immense, almost unbearable. Because as Simon makes his way down the mountain, Jack's tribe is holding that frenzied feast at Castle Rock.
The storm is brewing, too.
Exactly. The boys, fueled by pork, Jack's charisma, his terrifying leadership, they become increasingly frenzied in their dance during a violent thunderstorm. The chant, kill the beast, cut his throat, spill his blood. It transforms from just a hunting cry into this terrifying ritualistic incantation, building to a fever pitch of collective hysteria, pure mob mentality.
And then Simon emerges from the jumble, desperate to tell them the truth, reveal the beast is just a dead man.
But they don't see Simon.
No. In their hysterical primal state, fueled by fear and bloodlust, he is tragically mistaken for the beast itself. In a brutal, frenzied mob attack, the boys leapt onto him. They tore him to pieces with their bare hands and teeth. It's unspeakable, the ultimate loss of innocence, of reason on the island, a complete capitulation to unthinking violence.
And then the bodies are washed away.
Yeah. Afterwards, both Simon's body and the dead parachutist's body are carried away by the tide, as if the island itself is washing away the evidence of their savagery, leaving them to grapple with the horror they've committed.
The profound horror of Simon's murder is compounded in Chapter 10, the shell and the glasses, in the immediate aftermath.
Guilt. Denial.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Ralph, Piggy, Sam Narek, they're the only ones left outside Jack's tribe. And they grapple with this overwhelming guilt, the horror of what they participated in, even if inadvertently. They desperately try to deny it, rationalize it, find any shred of innocence. Piggy, still relying on logic, insists it was an accident, highlighting that deep psychological need to cling to a civilized explanation for an act of pure savagery.
Meanwhile, Jack's reign at Castle Rock is solidified, built purely on fear and intimidation now.
Total control.
Yeah. He explicitly denies Simon's murder, twists the narrative, claims the beast can take different forms. He's perpetuating the fear that keeps his tribe in line. He punishes Wilfred, for no clear reason, just demonstrating his absolute arbitrary power, showing how quickly a tyrant can rise when unchecked, wielding fear as his weapon.
And in a climactic move, pure power play and necessity, Jack's tribe raids Ralph's camp, specifically to steal Piggy's specs.
They need fire.
They need fire. It's a calculated, brutal act. Piggy is left helplessly blind, physically and symbolically. This act further symbolizes the complete loss of intellect, of reason on the island. The very tool of enlightenment is now solely in the hands of the forces of darkness.
Leaving Ralph's group powerless.
Utterly powerless, stripped of their last vestiges of control, their hope for rescue.
This escalating conflict brings us to Chapter 11, Castle Rock. Ralph, in this desperate final plea for civility, for order,
He goes to Castle Rock.
A place now described as a red, weed-choked square, a stark, forbidding fortress reflecting the brutality inside. He goes with Piggy, the twins, to try and reason with Jack, demand Piggy's glasses back.
And Piggy holds the conch.
Piggy holds the conch, making his eloquent, poignant final appeal for civility, asking that fundamental question, which is better to have rules and agree, or to hunt and kill?
That question is the very heart of the novel's conflict, isn't it? And the answer, it's swift, brutal. It seals the island's fate.
Like Roger.
Roger, now explicitly the chief's arm, the sadistic enforcer who has fully embraced cruelty. He pushes that massive rock from above, sending Piggy 4 feet to his death.
And the conch.
The impact is so violent, the conch, that foundational symbol of democracy, order, reason, it burst into 1,000 fragments, gone.
Just shatters.
The death of Piggy and the simultaneous utter destruction of the conch signify the absolute triumph of savagery, the complete, irreversible collapse of democracy, of rational order on the island. Ralph is now truly, utterly alone, facing an island consumed by primal violence. No rules, no reason, no hope left.
Which brings us to the terrifying climax in Chapter 12, Cry of the Hunters. Ralph is now the last one, the last vestige of civilization. And he is the hunted.
The prey.
Pursued relentlessly like a pig. He hides in the dense undergrowth, dodging Jack's hunters, including Roger, who, chillingly, has sharpened a stick at both ends.
Implying the same ritualistic fate as the sow. Horrifying.
The hunter becomes the hunted. Total breakdown.
The irony here is just profound, almost tragically beautiful in its execution. In a desperate act of total destruction, Jack's tribe sets the entire island ablaze to smoke Ralph out, creating this massive, uncontrolled firestorm.
Trying to kill him with fire.
Right. This desperate act of pure savagery, intended to kill, ironically creates the very signal Ralph had longed for the entire time. The massive smoke column. It's the ultimate unintended consequence of their unchecked destruction. A horrifying beacon.
And then the impossible happens. A naval officer, drawn by the smoke, appears on the beach.
Rescue
arrives. He sees the painted, filthy, savage boys, abruptly bringing them back to the jarring reality of civilization. His appearance is this shocking return to a larger world, a world that, while civilized, is still capable of immense war and destruction.
Yeah, the war is still happening off-island.
Exactly. It implies the beast isn't unique to the island. The officer is depicted as being embarrassed by their appearance, reflecting that gap between the expected, orderly British schoolboys and the horrifying reality he finds.
This raises that powerful, uncomfortable question again, doesn't it? Is this rescue a true salvation? Or is it merely a return to a larger, more complex island, the adult world, where the darkness of man's heart still exists, just cloaked in the veneer of adult society, its institutions?
The officer's cruiser.
Right, the officer's cruiser, the symbol of the adult world, it carries its own weapons, its own capacity for large-scale violence. It reminds us that savagery isn't exclusive to children on an island. The novel ends with the officer asking, "Who's boss here?" And Ralph, asserting himself as chief one last time, then just breaks down completely.
Weeps.
He wept for the end of innocence, the darkness of man's heart, and the fall through the air of the true, wise friend called Piggy. His tears are for everything lost, a tragic realization of humanity's ever-present potential for evil.
So, after all that,
Yeah.
What does this all mean for us? Our deep dive into Lord of the Flies, it chronicles this swift, chilling descent from civilized boys to savage hunters. It's a stark, I think, enduring reminder of how fragile society really is, how easily fear, unchecked power, the allure of primal instinct, how easily they can erode the very foundations of order, of humanity itself.
Absolutely. The novel forces us to confront really uncomfortable truths, that the beast isn't just some external monster you can hunt down. It's a primal, inherent capacity within human nature itself.
It's us.
It's us. It highlights the critical importance of rules, yeah, but also the tragic vulnerability of intellect when it's confronted by brute force, by irrationality, and the essential difficult role of empathy, communication, moral courage in maintaining any functional society.
We've seen how those powerful symbols, like the conch piggy's glasses, how they initially represent order and reason, and their destruction marks the chilling triumph of chaos, of brute force, and the fire. Initially, that beacon of hope for rescue ultimately becomes this instrument of destruction, a reflection of their own self-inflicted demise.
And that arrival of the naval officer at the end,
Yeah.
it's just profoundly ambiguous, isn't it?
Doesn't feel like a simple happy ending.
Not at all. While it signifies rescue from the immediate dangers of the island, it also strongly suggests that the darkness of man's heart isn't confined to some deserted beach. It leaves us with this provocative thought, maybe. Perhaps the true island isn't just a physical place. Perhaps it's the human heart itself, and the constant deep dive we all have to take into our own nature to understand the forces driving us, both towards creation and towards destruction.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that the battle for civilization isn't just fought out there on remote islands or in societies. It's fought within each individual, every day.
Wow. Heavy stuff, but important stuff. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Lord of the Flies. We hope it's given you plenty to mull over and maybe inspired you to revisit this timeless, if difficult tale with a fresh, maybe deeper perspective. We look forward to our next exploration with you.
Subscribe to the Timeless Tales podcast. Your stories, your time.